up quite often is spacer blocks needed for rollouts where there's a hinge present on a specific side. So an often solution for this is to use a UCS to automatically put in the operations as well as maybe a model to represent that block. So you can see here we already have that in place, and this has been done with a UCS. However, I've been asked recently whether I can do this without using a UCS, and there are a few different ways to do this. So I thought I'd create a video going through one of the methods that you could use. So first thing I'm going to do is turn off my UCS, and I'll close my job. Here I'm going to go to my material catalog and my guides. The one thing I need to stress here is when creating these blocks or the operations for them, you need to apply the operations within every single guide you're going to use. So it is a little more tedious in putting in these operations, but allows the user to avoid creating a UCS to do this. So I'm going to select one of my guides and copy it, and just give it a name that's appropriate to this situation. Now I'm going to double click on it to go to my material properties, and I will go to advanced and model. So I need to modify the existing holes and add some more. So I'm going to go to my primary work plane, and I'm going to add a parameter to each of the operations for the quantity that's going to say if there is a clearance for a spacer block to delete the hole, if there's not, to keep the hole. So I'm going to select my operation, right click, and go to properties. I'll go to parameters and add our parameter, which is QTY. I'm going to use an equation, and I'm going to say if my clearance is greater than 0 to delete it. The parameter for this, if I go to my help menu, is S_CL. So definitions for your parameters are found under the system parameters in the help menu. I'm going to copy this and go back to our formula. Say if our clearance is greater than 0 to have a quantity of 0. And now I'll say if our clearance is equal to 0 to have a quantity of 1. And we can click OK. I now need to do this for each of the operations that are present within the guide. Now we can go ahead and add our operations for the spacer block itself. Keep in mind that your drilling configuration may be different depending on the block you are using. So the first thing I'm going to do is select an operation, and I'm going to copy it. And then I'll paste it. The reason why I do this is it just makes it a little bit easier, so some of my parameters are already in place. I am going to switch over to be in metric. Because of the position of this, I'm going to use 16 mils off the center, and I'm going to right click and go to our properties and our parameters again, and our quantity parameter is going to be opposite of what we currently have. So if there is a space or a clearance, there will be holes. If there's not, these operations will not be created. And now I'm going to add another parameter This is basically going to say, even if my operation isn't touching the face of my end, to still apply that, as long as it's within this specific value. So I'm going to say, if my normal is 2, to apply it. And now I'm going to copy my operation again and paste it. And here we'll adjust our position again. And now what we'll need to do is copy these operations and keep on applying them to the rest of our guide holes if that's what we need. However, in this scenario, I'm going to just leave it as it is, and we'll go through and test this and make sure it's working the way it needs to. So we'll hit return, and return again, and return to save it. And we'll close our material catalog, and we'll start a new job. I'm not going to go ahead and create a material schedule. I'm just going to override the material at the cabinet level just for demonstration purposes. And we'll change our face to just have a single door. And we'll turn off our rendering mode. So here we can see that we have our 3 holes, and here we have our single set of holes that show in this scenario only because we've only set one single set. However, you'd need to go through and add these operations in for the rest of your guide. Hope this video helps get you started. It's just a different way of doing this. You can use a UCS if you want, or you could go down this road.